Hey, it's Dr. J. Welcome to Breakfast with Dr. J. Let's get this focus all organised. Well, I wonder how many people will pop on this morning. So I hope you had a terrific week and welcome. I hope you get a cup of coffee ready. Cheers. I love my cuppa in the morning. So having a bite of breakfast, get your trusty pen out because we're going to get some good stuff today. So second, third week on lockdown. I wonder how it's all tracking for you. Well, I must say that lots of people have been on the front foot, and it's been really good to see. And there's other people that are still waiting. So I wanted to come on today and talk a little bit about how things have changed just in the last, 2 or 3 weeks. But let me rest assure you, over the last few months and maybe 6 to 12 months, things have been changing quite dramatically. So today I want to talk about how online selling, and if your business might not need it, you might just go back to the norm, but the probability of that is going to be low. So I would love to go through and show you some things that will stop you from taking advantage of the opportunity that's going to take place. So there's a number of things I'd like to explain before I show you some of the things that you'll need to do. The first thing is, if you start to wait until we know when we're going back, or we'll wait until I know how things are traveling, you're going to miss the boat. And I'll say that again so you really hear it long. If you wait, you're going to miss the boat. Now, when I say miss the boat, is when we actually start to get a little bit back to the new normal. What's going to happen is there'll be a flurry and there'll be more inquiries coming in, but they might not be able to come and see you or you to go see them. So what are you going to do? You're going to bumble around to see if what we had or what we did was going to be okay. Good morning, Jamie. Good to see you. Thanks for popping on. If we bumble around waiting until that day, we're going to be, how can we say, awkward, clumsy, and we won't have things ready. Sure, you might get ready, you might practice on your prospects, but that can be costly. The time to do that is now. And there's a thing that it's called procrastination. Procrastination is the thief of opportunity. You might get a new idea or a new way to do things, and I'm going to do it next week. Oh, that's a really good idea, and I'll do it on Monday. Now, there's 5% of people that will take action straight away. We call them the 5%ers. And then there's the 95%ers that are going to do it and never do it, and all of a sudden wish they had done it. Who are you? Are you on the front foot? Are you going to be part of the 5% and go through the uncomfortableness of going back to school? Because that's what it requires. You say, I'll get back to it later because I'm pretty good at selling and my business is pretty, we're just having a little bit of a rest. Well, the new normal will be a new normal. And when things are new and we haven't prepared for new, we're doing it old. And I'm really proud to say that a lot of our people in our Sales Authority Club are really taking the front foot. Just the other day, we started to do some stuff on camera work, on lighting and so forth. And we started to practice it and get the phone out and see how it looked and making sure that the audio was good because they were going to have to be presenting online. These are things that we don't talk about because we've never done it, so we don't know what we don't know. There are some processes that I'm going to share with you today that are important that you're aware of, and I hope you take some action on. Complacency is something that we get when we've had success. When you've had a significant success or just average success, we say, well, it's a bit of a lull, it'll be okay. We don't go back and sharpen our axe or change our axe or change the way because we think it's going to be okay in our subconscious. This is a complacency modality. And what happens is when we get complacent, it's like the bowling frog. We just don't know it's creeping up on us. And then it's too late. I'm bringing this to your attention now because it is really critical that we are doers of now, not doing it tomorrow. And one of the things is, the things that are scary is the transition to a new way where you had success in the past, We say, well, it was doing fine, is scary. And it's difficult. It's not easy, especially if you've been very successful in the past. Look, this is the way I do it. And then it doesn't work anymore. It's like good old analog phone. It was a cracker. It was my favorite. I knew how to use all the buttons, but it just doesn't work anymore. Why? Because times have changed. We're enforced into this change process. And when we get into change, it can be something that we will, let's say, we wait for. I recommend that you take the front foot and you embrace it. Fear the fear and do it. Go back to school, start learning. Now, some of you will say, yeah, okay, Doc. Some of you will say, let's do this. Hopefully, you're part of the 5%. So, if you get this, go back to school mentality, what we need to do is to get ready for school. We've got to get our notes, we've got to get our resources, and we have to be prepared. Now, this is fundamental, but when you haven't been back to school, back to learning, you've got to learn to learn. Yeah. It's difficult. You know, people say, oh, you should do this and you should do that. I'm sick of hearing people telling others and me what I should do. I would love them to tell me how to do it. Teach me. You will not learn anything unless you're teachable. So let's take off that I've been successful hat and let's put I'm a student again. Teach me. And the only way you can teach somebody is when they learn it and do it. 80-20 rule here, guys. 80-20 rule. Get out there and do it. Don't just say, oh, I've got to be good at it. It's really difficult. I know it's difficult, but do it. The next thing is step outside that comfort zone. Reach up for help. If you're 35, 45, a superstar in sales, and then you've got a young puppy that really knows their technology, reach out. Say, show me, Buster. Yeah, we're all the same. It's a wonderful thing right now is we're all on this level playing field right now. Yeah, everyone else doesn't know what to do either. There are going to be processes we put in now that will evolve and get better. We've been in a fortunate position over at Impact. We've been going online and getting things in place well before Corona. And we've been trialing and putting the processes in place. We've got an 8-step model now, and it's just been streamlined with our members actually using it. And it's been really successful. So one of the things that is critical if you want to have the success is making sure that, as I said last week, having all your equipment ready. Now, I'm going to assume your delivery and your equipment is all ready to rock and roll to actually do a presentation online. If it's not, you've got to go back to school and get it ready. That's a faux pas. That's a real big mistake if you haven't done it. Now, we've got a process we now call DSM. DSM stands for delivery, sales, and marketing, in that order. DSM is the new way of thinking when we're doing this transition. DSM, delivery. How are you going to deliver your sales and your product and or service? How are you going to deliver it? Number one. Number two, what is the modified sales process? I'm going to explain that to you in a moment. And then your marketing. Okay, once I know how to deliver my product and I know how I'm going to sell it, now let's get some leads. It's not about getting leads. I know how to deliver and let's make some sales. It's completely reversed. If you're not ready to deliver and you don't know how to sell it, well, don't start marketing, because you'll do it wrong. You'll burn the lead. And even though leads are maybe commonplace right now, but some of your businesses, they'll be, far and few between. We have to make the most of every opportunity. Help as many people do it the way that they need to be presented in, not the way that you used to do it and clunk around. Hope this is resonating. Give me a thumbs up if you're listening and making sure you're there. So this new platform is a little different for me. I'm not used to it. So if you're there, give me a thumbs up. That'll be terrific. Just want to make sure that I stay in focus as well. All right. So that's the beginning. And I hope you've actually taken some notes down. DSM, delivery of product and your sales model. Then we've got to have the sales model, and then we have to have the marketing, and you're ready to then presenting. Good morning, Gavin. How are you, my friend? Come on, put a thumbs up so I can see if there's a thumb comes up on this new format. That'd be terrific. All right. Now, what I'd like to give you now is some processes. The first thing I'd love you to do before you start learning your new models is to have a buddy, a practice buddy. It's no good learning a new thing and doing it by yourself. This is we've always talked about role play and all that sort of stuff, and everyone goes, "Ugh." Guys, now's the time to do a role play. What is your 30-second or 45-second pitch? How do you present an tell me more pitch? In belly-to-belly presentations and on the telephone, we can use a thing called noise to get away with. We just talk too much, and we'll get away with it you'll bamboozle them with verbiage. If you're online and trying to have a conversation, you have to be succinct. Your 20-second to 45-second pitch, in other words, what do you do? Who do you represent? What do you love about it? What's awesome? What's awesome? And why do they need an expert? You need to have that done. We just did this in the Sales Authority Club this week. We had people doing their pitch and do a problem, promise, teach. What's that? Doing a pitch and say, hey, I'm Dr. J, and go through your pitch, which is just 20 seconds to 45 seconds to create cred. It has to be natural. Then you go through a problem, promise, teach. Well, find out their problem, promise you can actually have a solution to it, and then teach them how they can get the solution. It's a new model for a shortened sales cycle online. Now, the next thing I'd love to cover with you is some of the essential new skills you're going to have to master. And when I say master, not just know. Master means you're going to do the activity. You might get a great process. You know, Jamie here actually puts phenomenal processes. Gavin's a big doer. And the bottom line is you've got to now master it. It's no good saying, yeah, I get it, but you don't practice it. You've got to get a practice buddy and get someone to do it online with you, not belly to belly, because that's different. Online is unforgiving if you get it wrong, going on and off the screen. So let me go through some of the things that we put into our 8-step process now when we've got this sales makeover pivot where we've actually shortening the sales cycles to make it easy to convert. So let me just run through those with you. Number one, the sales skills that are essentials now is, and I really want you to get this one, write it down please. An inquiry, a web inquiry, a telephone inquiry can lead to an instant presentation. Oh yes. It can lead to an instant presentation. Now, in the olden days, in some of your businesses, now I know it's not in all of them, but some of them, you'll book an appointment. Yeah. You'll go and see them. They come and see you. They might meet you and show you a house, or come to your gym, or come to whatever, your surgery to get things started. But guess what? In some cases now, you can have an inquiry, a web lead, you get in contact with a human being on the telephone, and then you say, well, you're really excited. Are you near your computer now? Yes. Well, let's jump on Zoom or jump on the platform and we'll have a quick chat now, and I'll show you how we can fix your problem. If you've done a good telephone activity, see how the telephone prompt has changed? And guess what? You've got to be ready. You can't be running around in your pajamas. Oh, gee whiz, I've got to get my hair right. I can't talk to her right now. That's because you're not used to doing this. So I'll say it again. From the inquiry, you can actually go straight into a needs analysis after you've built the rapport, an explanation demonstration in a visual modality online, and actually ask them to buy with a link close or a chat box close. Oh, yes. It will happen. I've seen just the other day, the telephones with the FaceTime have come back into vogue. So you answer the phone and you can push the button, and then that screen, you can have a chin wag with them. It's probably in the too low a place. It needs to be a little bit higher, but they're coming back into vogue. So that's number one. Number two, the days of booking an appointment to come and see you and looking at that show rate, in some businesses, is going to reduce the necessity of having strong activities there. It will be telephone inquiry to presentation percentage. Yeah, not telephone inquiry to booked appointment and booked appointment to show. It'll be inquiry, did you get the opportunity to get them on Zoom? Get them on a presentation. Give an explanation demonstration, if it's at all possible for your product or service. And in most cases, it is. But if you don't know how to do it, you don't have your pens ready, you don't have your prompts and all your stuff ready to rock and roll, preloaded on your computer, ready to do it, then you're going to fail. Now, the things I'm telling you are not hard to do. You're just going to know what to do. So the next thing I want to cover with you is making sure, I'll come back to our pitch. As soon as you get someone on the phone, we can go through your qualification. But when you get online, you've got to say, great to talk with you, Gavin. Lovely to speak to you, Jamie. How things been, a little bit of salutation. Let me just tell you a little bit about us. Boom! You've got to get into credibility. Your pitch is 20 seconds to 45 seconds. It needs to be natural and it needs to be strong. The next thing is absolutely critical that you understand that building a rapport online is very different to building rapport belly to belly. Sure, commonality with somebody is important, but guess what? I'm looking at you straight in the eye, but I'm not looking at my screen. I'll now look at my screen. Look, I've had a few too many gin slings or bourbons, don't I? Because I'm checking me out, see how I'm moving. No. We've all been taught to look someone in the eyes when you speak to them. And that's a piece of plastic now. Small thing, big dividends. If I'm going to write something down, let me write that down. And let the person's talking. All right, now let me repeat this. Look at your piece of paper, go back to this, not the picture, go back to the eyes, which is the camera lens. Can you do that? It sounds easy. Give it a go. Now, what's your lighting like, as we talked about, that is important, but that should have already been done. The next thing is your facial expressions. When we get online, sometimes it's a little bit dodgy. Sometimes when we do our, let's say, our pitch or a little bit of a conversation, we get a bit serious. We look like we're possums in a floodlight. We're going to have some facial expressions. When someone's talking, have facial expressions back. Don't just watch. Very disconcerting when someone's just watching you talk like this. You've got to go, just make some noises. Don't interrupt them. Let them talk. Wait for the breath so you can interject. These are new skills which are critical for listening and talking. All right, next thing is absolutely critical, the nervous noise. The nervous noise. What's nervous noise? Nervous noise is when we can't shut up. We go blah 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 blah, and the person's going yeah, and you keep taking over because you're nervous, you don't know what to do, you're uncomfortable and watching your face, and you start talking too quickly. Ooh, maybe that's not you. Maybe you don't want to talk at all. Those awkward silences, which are awkward. Yeah, these are just simple body language skills, aren't they? That we take for granted when we're belly to belly. And let me just give you a bit of a heads up here. Guys, I know that some of the people I'm talking to this morning, you're superstars in sales. I respect that. I could learn a ton from you, I'm sure. But I can guarantee you, if you don't practice what I'm just suggesting now and understand what to do, in other words, find out what you don't know so you can learn how to be good at what you didn't know, is essential. Now, when it goes back to the new normal and you're going to do your belly-to-belly stuff more often, sure, but you're going to have another skill, which will be necessary in the new future. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. What you do now is going to predict your future. This is a downturn. There is no question about it. And there's so many fortunes are made and opportunities created in downturns and in upturns, but there's always an opportunity. Tighten your belt, use the time wisely to upgrade your skill sets and learn the good stuff. That's right, Jamie and Gavin. Practice, drill, rehearse is critical. Now, when you guys are good, Both of you are very good at that. But the bottom line here is that our teams don't like doing it. I call it PDR now. So people say, hey, let's do a bit of PDR. And then we do some new skills. The role play will be here. You get in a room and let's chat online with our role play. Oh, yes. Let's get on the phone and transfer you across. And let me look at the camera and build a rapport. And let's have a bit of commonality and then be able to go on and off screen. That's a skill set that you need to practice. And not just once. Technology is unforgiving most of the time. How many times it drop out and all that sort of jazz. So you're correct, Gavin. You're spot on the money. And when it comes down to it, and I think you're right, Jamie. It's a new beginning. I think it's a much better word. Spot on, mate. If you're going to take on the new beginning, then start today. Yeah, not, oh, it's Saturday. Guys, we've been cooped up at home. We can't go out too much, so let's start today. Let's start practicing videoing. Let's start practicing your prompts. Make some new ones. Now, a couple of other things. There's an 8-step process that we've created. We call it the Sales Makeover. We've started it in our Sales Authority Club, but it's actually people can pop in at any time. And what I found just yesterday is then when we started doing our pitches, some of the guys were on the front foot. They did a pretty good job with the hard skill, and I'm quite comfortable with just getting the words right. Now, please write this down. This is important. Getting the words right, because it's going to be new words, is really important. But the delivery of the words is going to be equally or more important with an online process. What I wanted our guys in the Sales Authority Club to do yesterday, and they did a great job, is just get the words out. Do it. Now that they've done it, they're going to look back at their presentation and say, how can we put the expression and making sure we have connection online with your hands, with your eyes and so forth. Get a bit of smile on your dial. Make sure you have some expression on your face. These are things that you'll never change unless you see it. So this is terrific when you do this practice, drill, rehearse. So make sure you've got the good equipment. And that's step number one. Number two, and also the applications. I'm actually trying a couple of new applications this weekend. Ecamm, which is one that I think might be quite useful that you might want to look at for your live presentations. Okay, number one is get the online equipment sorted. Number two, having the essential selling communication skills updated. Like I've explained, eye contact, looking away, coming back, making sure that you have everything preloaded, making sure your communication skills are better. This is going to be harder than it sounds, because you're probably absolute crackerjack and really good at doing this stuff already. The next thing is new age online phone skills. I'll say that again. New age online phone skills. This is a process which creates an opportunity to shorten your sales cycle. Your phone prompt does need to change. You need to pre-frame the Zoom, or you're going to pre-frame what you're going to do. In other words, tell them what you're going to tell them. Remember, it's the new normal. Your consumer has not experienced it yet. In 6 months, they will have, but right now, they won't. So let's make sure we nail this part, the new online telephone activity. Once the telephone activity is sorted out, you need to understand the next is to qualify online. To be able to use a needs analysis, whether you use a pre-done one, they could actually fill it out before they come online to you, or you can actually use your existing one. Now this is critical, because just talking about it is not going to be enough. Please write this down. Just talking about your needs analysis is not enough. Now remember, when they come in to see you, a lot of the time you'll either have a scribble sheet or they will complete a needs analysis. Now you can get them to complete one before they come online. Could only take them 2 or 3 minutes, which is what some people have done through Google Docs and things like that. Or you can actually say, I'm going to write some things down and have the questions. Now, the questions on your needs analysis is not the skill. That has to be designed properly with triggers. It's the questions you ask after you listen to their answers. I'll say that again. It's the questions you ask after they give you the answer. And that's when you have to have the ability to have a communication. That's when you need to have a visual pop up on your screen. It's not about you talk a little talking head. You've got to have visuals. Auditory, visual. Have to have two modalities in the presentation. All right. Now, 80% of the sale, as a lot of you know, is going to be in qualification. I believe it's going to be more online. You're going to have an opportunity to teach, but do not go into your presentation too quickly. I'll say that again. Do not go into your presentation too quickly. Some people are really eager to say, well, let me show you what we're going to do. Remember, historical data is more powerful than blue sky. What they're going to be and become and have and achieve is only a wish. What is real is now. What is absolute is what's happened historically. Doesn't mean it has to be what's going to happen in the future. That's why they're coming to see you. That's why you've got to use your USPs. That's why you have to make sure that you are perceived as an expert. Belly to belly. Have a cred activity before you present your product or service. That is in a process of qualification. Not for today, but I'm just giving you the steps which are critical. That is our fourth step. So just recap. Online, equipment and applications is number one. Next bit is on a makeover, essential communication skills. May be able to have the things that you took for granted put into practice. Next thing is new age, online, telephone skills, which means that sometimes will shorten the sales cycle where they will present immediately. So you're ready. The next thing is qualification and making sure you have a needs analysis that can be done prior or while they're on the conversation and then ask questions about the answers. Hope you're writing this down. A lot of you are great at selling. I keep saying this. I want you to shift. Do the practice. Make sure you try these little nuances. Do not try and do a whole sales process online to start with. Do little bits at a time, just like we do in chunking, like you guys, lots of you guys would already know. They've done a lot of training with us in the past. We're doing the same in our sales makeover. We're doing the practice, the drill, rehearse. We're not going to give you the whole elephant to eat in one bite. Let me go to number 5. How to create an experience online. Ooh, how do you create experience? How do you do the new process of proofing online? You could be talking like a person possessed with a lot of intensity, but that's not going to work. Proofing is the new explanation, touring, demonstration. We introduced it over a year ago. Increased closing percentage significantly. Guess what? Proofing online is an absolute treat and easy to do. Yeah. The proof mechanism with testimonial and video and process and using a thing called milestoning, new online process, which is absolutely the bomb to use. We've had so many guys in the Sales Authority Club using it at the moment, and their milestoning process is a piece of cake. It's just crackerjack. How are you going to create an experience online? Yeah, I'm sure you're very pleasant to listen to, but what's the visuals? What's the auditory other than your beautiful voice? Now, we can't get them to smell stuff online, but we can get them to get excited by seeing things. It could be energy music. It could be something that is inspiring. That doesn't take too long. Something that a lot of people don't think about. What experience am I going to have online? It's just going to be a talking head? Well, that ain't going to work. So there are lots of little applications. As I said, I'm having a play around with a thing called Ecamm, which allows us to create different experiences. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, now that you've got that in place, we've gone through our experience and have an online solution. You've now gone into that sixth step, which is the milestoning model, to show them a process which can be easily understood. The last two is firstly learning how to present your prices online. This is quite different. Gone are the days of actually doing a price presentation if you don't have an iPad. Now, but you can do a price presentation using your pen with an iPad if you still want to use things like your T-graph or the triplicate of choice. Oh yes, you can tether your iPad and they will see your presentation, and you can do the presentation with an electronic pen, and you can explain your pricing with a drawing, just like you used to do, but you have to have the tool to do it. Just an iPad tethered to your computer. Do you know how to do that? It's not easy to do if you don't know it even exists. But when you plug it in, you'll see it's a piece of cake. But you've got to practice how to do it. Say, Bob, let me just show you. Click, on you go, and your price presentation. Or you could go into creating a PowerPoint, which will take them on a journey, on their milestone, big picture presentation, and then flip them into a price presentation. Do you have your circles and ticks on there? Well, you can preempt it. All these things need to be practiced. Now, after we presented the prices, and the last thing here, which is absolutely a big rock, is how to ask for the money and get it. Do you know? I said, give me the cash, give me a credit card. Oh, hang on, I can't touch you. Well, there's a process called a chat box close. There's also an share screen close, where you talk them through the process while they're on screen. The old send you a link close. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. Do you know how to do that? If you don't know how to do these little things, they are big rocks. Closing the sale is only 2 to 3%. But if you don't know how to do it, you're gone. Getting in the car is and making sure you get the right car. But if you don't know how to push the key in the ignition or push the button, it's not going to go anywhere, is it? Do you know how to push the button? Do you know how to do it succinctly without being clunky? The only way you can do that, ladies and gentlemen, is to practice, drill, and rehearse. And that's the last step, number 8. In our 8-step model, in the Makeover, we go through and chunk everything together and learn everything. And then we have a whole wrap up with the whole process to say, we just have a day where we're presenting to each other, our top end, our middle end, our bottom end, and then flow it all together. So you're absolutely crystal clear with the model. Now, a lot of you have done a lot of our training in the past, so you know how to do this. Your practice, drill, rehearse has to be in chunks. But for goodness sake, when you've done all the chunks, this is a big rock, please write it down. Role play those chunks with your 6 plus 3 plus 1. That means 6 times, 3 times without a mistake, 1 for good measure. Each section. So it could be initial contact and qualification. Do that. Then your explanation, demonstration, and your milestoning. Do that. And then do your test closing and all of the things online and asking for the money. The chunky process is critical. That's one of the reasons we put through created the sales makeover, because a lot of the things are similar, but it's the delivery that's different. Now, if you're interested to know a little bit more about Makeover, just put down Makeover in the bottom, or just give me a call. Most of you who are my mates, you know how to do it, and more than happy to have a chat, or even a quick Zoomie to have a bit of a bo peep. So I've actually come back just to those steps to recap. Number 1, online equipment and making sure applications. Number 2, essential selling skills and communication. Online telephone skills, making sure we shorten the sales cycle. Number 3. Number 4, qualify your needs analysis online, go on and off screen. Number 5, how to create an experience and making sure you have a solution online. Next thing is making sure that you have a milestone journey for every presentation. Lucky last 2. Okay, learn the ways to present your prices, to flip into some type of close where you can get the money straight away, and then spend quality time. Number 8, having an online sales processes of your chunks to make sure it's full flow before you go live. Does take a little bit of time. Hope that was useful. Love to have some comments in there in the bottom there to say, hey, what you're going to put into practice. If you want to have a chin wag, give me a call. Let's come on Zoom. I'm more than happy to have a little bit of tell you what you're doing is spot on. Is probably great. Sometimes it's good to have a sounding board. Now we come to the end of breakfast, but I always like to, I've got a few comments coming out on the left-hand side, which is terrific. Thank you for actually talking to me. Now, if you've got any questions before I move on, put them in the question box or the little chat box, and I can answer your questions before we wrap it up for the morning. So if you've got any questions, I know there's a little bit of a delay. I'll have a sip of my coffee to make sure we're on track. So if something comes up, I'll see it. Here we go. I do love my coffee in the morning. So I'll give you another minute or so to get those questions in there. Terrific. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate you popping on, mate. And by the way, for those of you that hadn't, in our Sales Authority Club and on our YouTube channel, Jamie's been giving some fantastic nutrition tips for our members on 9 o'clock on Tuesday. I've been popping them into my YouTube channel, so if you'd like to subscribe to that, have a bo peep, but that's absolute gold, the feedback. By the way, it's the most watched YouTube that I have. So thanks, Jamie. That's been absolutely fabulous. All right, gang, doesn't look like there's any people got questions this morning. For those that watch on replay, questions in comments, I'll get back to you straight away. Oh, here we go. Question: how to learn to look at the camera and not the screen? Yeah, okay. One of the things that I used to find is that we get taught as a child to look at the person. What you need to do is I have a separate camera just slightly above the actual computer. I've got some people that actually take the computer and put it to the side, just to the side, and don't look at the computer at all. And when they ask for questions, they say, well, have you got any questions? And they look to the computer on the side. Oh, that's a good question, Jamie. Let me go through and talk to Jamie here, not Jamie here. So they have they go here, talk to them, doing your presentation, click, 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 click. You can see your PowerPoint and the peripherals of your eye. But when you're actually looking for the questions to read them, say, just ask some questions. Oh, that's a great question, Jamie. Come back to the camera. All right. Gavin, when using an online video, would you sit down or stand up? Look, great question. To start with, to get practicing, I would suggest you have making sure that your head's just closely to the top, maybe just a little bit above, or just like in the middle here. If you're standing up, make sure that you have either a Bluetooth lapel or a mic, or having one of these. This is a very, very long mic. As you see, it's bloody enormous. It's around about 2 meters. So I can stand well away from the camera, and I just feed it through the lapel, through my shirt, down through my trousers, and out the bottom, and it goes across to the computer. Make sure you got a lot of cable, all right? I can use a virtual background. Yes, on Zoom I use virtual background. Right now I'm just using this is actually a big board, what they call it, a media board. It's quite large. It covers my whole back wall. I have different ones. There's cloth that I just use the long lapel mic when I have to use a whiteboard. And I also use a TV screen, which is behind as well, which shows the PowerPoint that I'm using. But the PowerPoint by itself is okay, but you've got to come on and off screen. It's a good question, mate. Thank you. All right. Terrific. Well, thanks for coming on this morning. And make sure you have a fantastic weekend. Please ask some questions. I'm here to help. And let's kick some goals, all right? No procrastination, no complacency. Let's do the damage. I'm Dr. J. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.